In this video we're going to talk about string formatting. So a basic example is like this. So we've got some Python variables, say ans is 42. Yeah, answer is 42 of course. And we can do okay, so we just we want to make a so here the idea is we've got a string where we just write most of the string as just in normal letters, but then we want to insert the value of this variable answer we defined up here, so we just put in a curly brackets here. And in order to make that work, it has to be we have to put in this specifier f at the beginning to say that this is this is to be formatted in this way, inserting everything that goes anything that's inserted between curly brackets. And so this kind of specification, it's called an f string. If you want to look for documentation of it, searching for the phrase f string is probably the way to go. And here's the documentation on the main sort of Python documentation site, docs.python.org. It says format specification mini language. This tells you all the technical details of all possible things that you can do with these f strings, and then there's some examples down here. If you look at kind of earlier books or stuff about Python, you see that there's various other ways you can achieve more or less the same effect. We're mostly going to ignore those because these f string things, it's a newer option, but it just generally works better. So here's another example. Okay, here's like a serial number. Okay, but it's kind of common that serial numbers are supposed to sort of have some zeros at the beginning, and you're supposed to include those. But if you just kind of print a number in Python, and it won't include the zeros. But we can do it with an f string like this. So if we just do it like that, then of course it doesn't make any difference. But if we put some stuff after a colon here, we can do we do colon O10D, right? So then the effect of that is to do it as decimal with it padded with zeros at the beginning, so as to have length 10. Okay, so how did I know how to do this particular code here? Well, I mean, I could, of course, I could just go and read this page that I showed you, and you can read all these kind of details here about. You'll find somewhere down here all the details about how you make it padded like that. Alternatively, of course, we can ask Google Bard how to do it. It's often more effective than just trying to search some web pages. Ask Bard, and it so here it actually tells me a couple of other methods that I haven't actually thought of before, but if we look down here at 3, it tells you number colon 010D, and that's the method that I was suggesting here. Another kind of thing you might want to do is to do scientific notation. Okay, so let's look at 2 to the 100. That's some kind of fairly large number. But if you wanted to know sort of really how large it is, you could kind of try and count the digits to see roughly what power of 10 it is. But it's kind of better to print it in scientific notation. So and so instantly this one I'm going to do with single quotes. for these format strings you can do either single or double. It doesn't matter too much. And so 2 to the power 100 in so I just so here this this is just an example. Here I've put in the name of a variable, but I can also just have an expression if I want. So here I've got 2 to the 100. And then I'm going to put some colon 0.2e here. So the 0.2e, so the e means that it's going to be done in scientific notation with a sort of a number here and an exponent. So this is 1.27 times 10 to the power 30. And here over the 0.2 means that I'm putting in 2 decimal places there. Right? I could do 0.5e, and then it would give me a slightly more precise answer with an e. So yeah, so for scientific computation, you might well be dealing with large numbers of various kinds, then it's typically appropriate to print them in this sort of way. Okay, so let's do this again with do some stuff with lists. Okay, so let's have L is 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so here I'm just going to do. So this is kind of the older version of, or one of several older versions of how you might do this kind of thing. So we'll just do this as a quick example. Okay, so okay, so list 5, 6, 7, 8 contains 4 elements. So the way I've done this here, so I've got this string the list, and then plus repr L. So what's repr? Repr of anything is the string representation. So you can just convert more or less anything to a string by using this repr. So here we've converted the list to a string using repr, and then we've taken the length of the list, which is an integer, and converted that to a string again using this repr thing. And I could instead do str. Actually, I think in this case it won't actually make any difference whether I do str or repl. The difference is, the str is kind of more designed to be human readable, and the repr is more designed to be Python readable. So if you make a string using repr, then you can feed it back into Python, and it will give you the right thing, which might not necessarily be true for str. But in this case, they're both the same. But let's do that with an F string as well. And so certainly note how I'm typing here. So I type open, working in VS Code. VS Code just tries to keep the brackets all matched automatically. So I just type an open bracket, then it gives me the closed bracket automatically. And then I do F, and again I type the beginning and the end of the string at the same time, and then I move backwards to start typing the string in the middle. This means that what I'm typing is kind of syntactically correct as I go along. If I sort of done it like this, so at the moment, what I've written is not syntactically correct, and which is going to kind of makes it harder for a VS Code to help me. If I put in the quote marks and the brackets, and now I type in the middle, so now what I've written is kind of syntactically correct as it stands, and that makes things work better. So again, I type the open bracket, and then I get the closed one automatically. Okay, so so there's the one. Two different ways of doing the same thing. First one using str or wrapper, and the second one using f strings. Second one is going to be better for almost all purposes. Another thing, sort of, all the same lines. Sometimes you want to convert between between characters and numbers. So there's this code called well, bottom part of it's called ASCII code, and the full thing is called Unicode, which enables every kind of letter or symbol has a code number, and you can convert between the numbers and letters using this function called cur. So if we do cur 111, character 111 is a lowercase o. Character 77 is uppercase m, and so on. It starts with the uppercase letters at 65 for A. Things below that, I forget exactly where we start seeing something sensible. 40, you see we get an open bracket, and then 199, you start getting some slightly more weird symbols, like as a 3/4 and so on. But mostly, and then if you go, so the traditional ASCII code only went up to 256, and that gives you a basic system of stuff. If you go much higher numbers than that, then you get to Unicode, and that contains all kind of Chinese characters and Arabic characters and strange mathematical symbols and all sorts of stuff. So you just try that. Say you've got a character 11111 is kind of upwards right-hand arrow. And if you want to go in the opposite direction, you can do ORD. Okay, so if I put an @ sign, say, ORD of @ is 64, and cur 64 is the @ symbol. So we want the whole alphabet. Let's do the uppercase alphabet, say. So we can do okay. So take I in range 26. So I is running from 0 to 25, and then I add 65 to that. So then I start when I is 0. I just get character 65, which as I mentioned before, but let's do it again. So character 65 is capital A, so you get capital A, and then a total of 26 letters starting from A, which gives us A all the way up to Z. So this gives us a list, and there's this kind of slightly weird syntax for joining a list. We have to take the separator character, which is in this case we're not going to have any separator. We're just going to glue the things together. So we take the empty string as a separator, and then the join method of the empty string applied to this list gives us a string which contains the whole alphabet. So that's what we need to say for the minute about format strings.